All right, guys, so when we're looking for key information to figure out if I'm multiplying or dividing for word problems, there's a couple things I look for. Multiplying and dividing are inverse operations, so they're very similar. So it can sometimes be confusing as to which one you're doing. So I'm going to give you some tips and some hints as to whether we're going to multiply or divide to solve some of these word problems. All right, let's look at the difference between these two diagrams first. These are tape diagrams for modeling a word problem. Here's our dividing and multiplying, and they look a lot similar. They both have a large bar on the top for their value, and then they have the 4 smaller bars on the bottom. Well, here's the difference. In division, the parts are unknown. So you have these 4 equal parts, that's why they all have an X in them, and I don't know their value. But I know how much the total is. So in this case, if the total is 12 and I have 4 parts, how much is in each part? Well, it would be 3, right? Because 3, 6, 9, 12. If I know the total, but I'm missing the parts, it's got to be a division problem because my answer is going to be smaller than 12 because together the parts are going to make 12. In multiplication, it's just the opposite. It's the inverse. I don't know the total, so the total is unknown, but I do know the parts. So if I have 4 parts and each part has a value of 4, I know the total would be 16. So in multiplication, I don't know the total, but I do know the parts. And in division, I do know the total, but I don't know the parts. Other key things you're looking for when you're dividing is if they ask for the average or the mean, we divide the total value that was there because the total is known. We're just trying to split that total into equal parts. And the words per and each both signify that we have the value of the total, but we're trying to figure out what each part of that total costs, or per what cost is that number. Okay, so we're going to refer back to this when we need to. All right, let's look at some examples. All right, let's look at this first one. Let me get this. Hold on one second. I want to get something to. I'm just going to use this right here. All right, so let's use our cube strategy. Remember, this is always a great strategy to go after a word problem to decipher it. Circle first, circle the numbers. So let's read it first one time through to get an idea of the problem. Solve this problem. Round the answer to 2 decimal places. So if it's 2 decimal places and we're rounding, that means we have to go to the 100th place if it goes past that. Okay? Chuck's on a week-long vacation and wants to hire a car for a few days of sightseeing. A car rental agency offers him a compact car for $49.79 a day. If Chuck rents out this car for 3 days, how much does he need to pay the agency in total? Okay, so I read it through one time. I know he's on vacation. He's renting this car for 3 days. He has a price for each day, so we have to figure out the total. All right, so let's circle our numbers. We know he has a price for a day. We know he's going to rent it for 3 days. Underline the question. If he rents it for 3 days, how much does he need to pay the agency in total? Let's box some keywords. Well, I know I'm going to find the total, so that means the total is unknown. We know that he's buying this or renting it for this much every day, a day, or each day. So here's what I see. And you know Miss Jones is a very visual person. Since I don't know the total, that's my X. Who knows? But we do know he's going to rent it for 3 days a week. And 3 days a week, each one of them is $49.79. So if that's the case, and I don't know the total, but I do know the parts, and the parts are all the same, there's I don't know the total, but the parts are all the same, it's going to be a multiplication problem. So let's multiply. $49.79 times 3. 3 times 9 is 27. 21 plus 2 is 23. 27, 28, 29. 12, 13, 14. I have to count how many spots are behind the decimal. 1, 2. 1, 2 spots behind the decimal in the answer. So his total cost would be $149.37. Okay? That makes sense because this is about $50 a day. And if I was doing $50 times 3, that would be $150. And $149 is awfully close. All right, let's look at the next one. Nathan takes 42 minutes to tread a distance of 4.5 miles on a treadmill. Determine the average distance he covered in 1 minute. Okay, so he's walked for 42 minutes. He's gone a total distance of 4.5 miles. We're going to determine the average distance covered in 1 mile. Average is definitely a key word. And he's gone the total distance for 42 minutes. So let's see what that looks like. Do I know the total time that he traveled? Well, here I'm finding the average distance he goes in 1 minute, so it's got to be the distance. So if I have 4.5 miles is the distance, I know the total. How many parts are going to make up that 45? Since I want to know what is done in 1 minute, I have to break this up into 42 parts, and I'm not going to draw all that, but each part is going to be the same. So I know the total, I'm missing the distance, we need to divide to solve that. So we're going to take 4 5/10 of a mile divided by 42. The decimal's on the inside, so we're going to raise it straight up. How many 42s go into 4? None. Bring down the 5. How many 42s go into 45? 1. Left over with 3. We're going to annex a 0 and drop it on down. How many 42s go into 30? None. So we're going to annex another 0. How many 42s go into 300? Well, that would be 5. If it was 50, I could get 2 and 100, so 6 and 300. So I'm going to try 42 times 6. 252. It's 252 plus 42. Look at that. I can get 292, so I can do 7 times. But you know what? I don't even need to keep going because if you remember up here, it told us to round our answer to the 2 decimal places to the hundredths. Well, as soon as I put this to the 7, then this 0 is going to round up. So he walked about 11 hundredths of a mile every day because I'm rounding to the nearest hundredth. Okay, let's look at the next one. On Friday, Nicole picked up 5 pounds of ground beef from the local store to make beef burgers. If 1 pound of ground beef was priced at $5.67, how much was Nicole billed for altogether? Let's take a peek. We have 5 pounds of beef. She went and picked that up. 1 pound of ground beef was priced at $5.67. How much was Nicole billed altogether? That's a key word, altogether, because I don't know the total then. 1 pound is $5.67 and she's buying 5. So here's what I see. I don't know the total because that's what I'm finding altogether. But I do know she bought 5 pounds and each pound was $5.67. So in order to solve this problem, if I know the parts but don't know the total, I'm going to multiply 5.67 times 5. Okay? All right, let's look at number 4. Kimberly makes 127 81/100 fluid ounces of honey basil lemonade for her nieces and nephews. She pours it out equally into 15 glasses without spillage. How much honey basil lemonade does each glass hold? Okay, so she's got 127 81 fluid ounces of honey basil lemonade, whatever that may be. She pours it out equally into 15 glasses without spilling any. How much honey basil does each glass hold? Well, I know the total, but I don't know her 15 glasses. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. There's my 15 glasses. I don't know what each one of these are, but there we know that they're all the same. So if we know the total and not the parts, we need to take 127 81 ounces divided by 15. Okay. All right, last one. Ryan and his 2 friends contribute $8.33 each to buy a baseball bat from a shop. Find the price of the bat. This is a pretty cheap bat, but we have Ryan and 2 friends, so altogether that's 3 people. We don't know how much the bat cost total, but we do know that 3 of them each contributed $8.33. So to find the total, we've got $8.33 times 3. and that will give us the total that they each found. So remember, the key to figuring out multiply or divide is knowing what information they've given you. If they've given you the total and you have to figure out the parts, you've got to divide. If you know all the parts but you're missing the total, it's a multiplication problem. Okay?